Hello everyone, Peeps here, and today I'm going to solve another problem with my indicator lights. So as you can see here, I started to build up my control system and I was programming in my lights and testing out the thresholds that I was going to set for everything. And as you can see, I've got a flashing red and sometimes green indicator. And that means that the light has not actually received the correct input and or turn on turn off signals that are coming from counter number 2. And I figured out what the problem was. So in counting computer number 2 here, I've got it configured so that the warning takes place at 14 and then the error takes place at 19. And that's fine. However, the output sends a 1 and that turns the blinking red indicator on and then sends a 0 afterwards. However, the valves close before the 0 can actually send, and so when the system is opening and closing these valves, because this is expecting the 0 to close this valve, it doesn't actually send the signal down to close the red. And so what we end up having is this red valve is open. You can see right there, open, yellow is closed, and green is open. And so both of these signals are interfering with each other, going all the way down to the indicator light, and then both are indicating at the same time. So what we need to do is we need to get it so that if green sends or the reset sends a signal, we need to shut red, or make sure that both red and yellow are shut. And so that is what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to do that starting down here at the very end indicator, and I'm going to create that circuit, and then I will replicate it down with my other 6 indicator lights. So I've got my supplies ordered, and everything has been brought up. Let's put that somewhere where I can actually see what it says. So that's diodes. We've got flip hooks. I've got all the different parts that I might need. Let's grab my smacker here. And essentially what's going to happen is this signal can only send a 1 up. So we're going to, there we are. Alright. Try that again. The tree appears to be preventing me from actually doing what I want to do, but we have dislodged that. We're going to dislodge that and dislodge that. So these signals, we're going to be able to come up, and I actually moved the elbow over here so that I can save these pieces for right now. We'll end up reusing them. And let's grab a T cable. So that's right there. So that's going to go in this direction. So we're going to grab a 1 signal up. Now that 1 signal is going to come up. A 0 is never going to come up, so I don't need to worry about that. But I do want to make sure that when it sends a 0 down, it only ever sends a 0 down. It never sends a 1 down. So, or it never sends anything back into the other cables. So to do that, we're going to use a diode, and the diode is here, and the diode is going to be pointing downwards. So the signal can't go up the cable, it can only go down the cable. So we need diodes on each one of these, and I want this 1 signal, so when a 1 comes up, I want both of these, the green or the red and the yellow, to close, which means I need to send a 0 signal over. And remember, the zeros are going to be blocked from being sent down these by the validator hooks along those lines. So I can send my flip hook along a straight cable over here. So let's get straight attached, my flip hook attached, and now we elbow there, elbow here, T here, and straight here. So now, if this is reset, we get a 1 that comes down here. It opens the green line up. It then sends a 0, because that flips down into here. The 0 goes down here. Validator hook prevents it from being sent that way. Closes that. Doesn't send up that line because the diode prevents it from being sent along. And 0 is sent down here. Can't go this way because there is a validator hook there. Closes that line. A 1 gets sent up. Diode prevents it from being sent up that way. 1 goes over here, opens this up. 1 is allowed to pass this way, goes this way, flips into a 0. That prevents it from being sent backwards into this line, and that turns that into a 0. So that closes, this is open, and that, because of the diode there, stays closed. And then if a 1 comes up this way, that opens up, that turns into a 0 and passes down here to close that. The validator hook prevents it, and the diode prevents it from going back upwards. If a 0 comes this way, nothing can go upwards. This closes, and that prevents the signal from going down here to do anything there, so we just get the light shut off from that period of time. So that looks like this is everything that we would want it to do. So now we just smack all of these into place with our smacker hammer. Smack, 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 smack. Now I don't have this line run all the way down, but if we wanted to test this, we can easily do that with line number 2. So why don't we take the pieces that we're going to use, which are going to be the elbow, did I use validator? I did not use a validator hook. Yeah. So just toss that down. I don't need that anymore. Definitely use the T cables. Flip. They always say that if you're going to build something, you should build it in an area where you have lots of space to work with. That's why I have a creative test world to do this stuff initially. I just hadn't tested every possible setup or setting that my inputs could possibly have. So my initial tests, everything worked when I was validating with 20, and then when I went to validate with 19, it didn't work right. But I didn't want the system to work partially. So this is a good compromise that allows me to fix the outputs. I could actually put the validator hooks back onto the computer so that everything is back to proper functionality and that the signal sends out as it's expected. But I'm not going to worry about that for right now. That just adds some additional configurations that well, this is a gigantic mess if I try to go in and make changes to it. Oops. Alright, smacker is here. So the second segment is this part. So smack, smack, smack. Let's get our elbows taken off. T-hooks, or T-cables. There, 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 straight cables there, 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 and there. Another T there. 2 elbows here. And our diode. Down, down, and flip. Okay. Hammer. No. Hammer. Here you are. Smack, smack, smack. Alright, simple as that. So now, if we go down here, so we're going to let this whole system reset. Okay, it is fully reset already. Awesome. I didn't realize that I was that close. We should now see solid green, which we do. And I don't see any flashy red. If I switch on over to camera mode, those are closed, and that one's open. Open, straight up and down, closed, straight up and down, closed. Okay. So switch off of that. Now this is configured right now so that if I go to 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we should now flip over to flashing yellow, which we do. Didn't have any issue with that before. 15, 16, 17, 18, still yellow. Can sort of see it through the wall. 19 is where it flips over to red, and now you can see it's flashing red through there. Okay, everything is working as intended, and now if we reset it, it should continue to flash red, because 19 to 20 doesn't reset it, whereas 20 to 21 did reset it. But now when we reach 31 to 0 in the counter, it will flip over to green and turn red off. And we get no flashy red. Excellent. So that solved the problem from up here of how do we take how do we make sure that the red and the yellow are closed once green has been triggered? And that has happened now. So I'm going to take the rest of these light lines and I'm going to run them over and hook them up. I've already hooked up all of my reset buttons here. And then I'm going to have to hook up my counters to the drilling filters that are set up. So this line right here is going to be for the drill filters. So all of the drill lines are going to be set off the same filter lines, and these are actually going to trigger off of 15 and 20. So yellow at 15 and red at 20. This is for the harvesters, and so the harvesters actually trigger yellow at 14 and red at 19. And when the harvesters do trigger, so like when red triggers, they'll actually shut the drills down. So once the harvester red line has triggered, the drills shut down so that the harvesters can finish up what they're doing without having a bunch of resources piling up behind it because they're broken. Over here we've got 4 lines for our automatic smelters, and these are going to trigger yellow at 18 and red at 19. And when yellow triggers, the drills are automatically going to shut down. And when red triggers, the drills and the harvesters and the conveyors are all going to shut, or the conveyors between the drills and the harvesters are going to shut down. So everything shuts down except for harvesters to the smelters. Because I did the math on my creative test world, let's actually show that. If we go to the menu and we go to creative test world, and I figure out where I'm at. I am in the logic testing area. So let's go to back here. Small little setup where I wanted to know at what point does the durability on the smelter go down. And so if you take out all of the gems that it didn't process and you count everything that goes through, there were 501 things that got smelted that popped through the thing, and it went down 3%. So you do the math, that's 167 items per percentage. So you can end up doing, the math worked out to a total of 167 times 100 times 20, 334,000 different items, or different nuggets of things that can be smelted in your automatic smelters using a fully filled hopper. Once that fully filled hopper has been used, though, you will not be able to effectively smelt. You'll only have 100% to do, and so 100%, if you actually consider that you'll have 21 full uses, because you've got your full smelter plus your 20 wrenches, you have 350,700 nuggets that you can smelt of a thing. And so I want to make sure that when my smelters are out, that they're not going to be receiving too many items. So I shut down the drills and I shut down the conveyors into the harvesters, so that they're not receiving any additional any additional things coming in that would still fill up the system, so that the smelters can gracefully shut down and not overwhelm, because we don't want to fill up past that 350,000 mark, almost 351,000. So that is my video today on fixing the warning system with the flashing lights on an effective way of being able to reset using logic validation to send a signal that doesn't backtrack, so that my green reset light will effectively shut down my red and yellow warning lights. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that this information is very useful for you in your logic builds.